So will the United States break up, I say in my column, in 2010, or 2011, or 2012, or any time in the near future for that matter? If history is any teacher, the chances would seem good that Panarin's predictions may be closer to reality than anyone would like to admit. I recently had a historian and linguist from South Africa write me a fascinating letter in which he chronicled the major world empires of history, dating the time of their rise and the fall. And in the column, I quoted his analysis, and I'll spare, for sake of time, the actual dates and just summarize each one of these events. Assyria, 247-year reign. Persia, 208 years. Greece, 231-year reign. The Roman Republic, 233 years. The Roman Empire, 207 years. The Arab Empire, 246 years. The Mamluk Empire, 267 years. The Ottoman Empire, 250 years. Spain, 250 years. Romanov Russia, 234 years. Great Britain, 250 years. United States of America, 219 years and counting. My honorable historian friend calculates America's reign using its post-Revolutionary War years. He notes that America's reign is currently at 219 years. He further notes that the average duration of every world superpower listed above is a little over 238 years. One does not need to be a master mathematician or possess a PhD, I write, to realize that America is fast approaching the mark in which every major world power in history has either collapsed or, at minimum, lost its world leadership and power. My friend also reminded me of his homeland's demise, South Africa. He told me that he noticed the handwriting on the wall in time to relocate his family to a more peaceful and stable European country. Many of his friends and countrymen were not so fortunate, however, and thousands of them were killed and their properties confiscated. He then warned me in his personal letter, quote, "The period of grace is closing in what is your homeland," close quote. And I write, in addition, serious students of Holy Writ are also struck with the similarities between societal conditions in America and those of Old Testament Israel and Gentile nations as well, at those times of divine judgment and retribution. As someone triumphantly said, if God spares the United States, he will have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. Will the Russian analysts' prophecies of the United States come true in 2010? Maybe not. Does that mean that America is impervious to some sort of national demise? Not at all. America is already in serious trouble. Could there be some sort of breakup within the United States in the near future? In my opinion, that is a very realistic probability. If this happens, will freedom suffer? Almost certainly. Will those with tyrannical tendencies use the opportunity of any national disaster to try and enslave us? They already do and are. I personally do not believe that there is any if to the question. The only questions are when and to what degree. And of course, there is another question. When the breakup comes, how many Americans understand the principles of liberty enough and are personally prepared enough and are willing enough to resist whatever power it may be that seeks to place us under the thumb of oppression and fight for the same protections and vanguards of liberty that first established this land? And obviously the answer to that question is yet to be determined, isn't it? After I wrote that column on September 29, I received this. It's to the point now where the letters and the emails that come into my office, a number in the hundreds and hundreds on a daily basis. It's very difficult for me to even keep up with the correspondence that comes into my office. Some of them strike me a little bit more pointedly than others, and this was one. His name is Randall. I'll save his last name. He identifies himself, "Hi Chuck, my family and I had the pleasure of attending your church back in July after my two oldest sons attended a music camp at Pensacola Christian College. The icing on the cake for that weekend was the service of your church and meeting you and your family. It's something I will never forget. Thanks for your determination to proclaim the truth and challenge your listeners. I thought you might be interested in this little update. I am a judge." And I remember this gentleman and his family as he reminded me in the letter. "I'm a judge, and I'm also a precinct chairman," and he names the county and he names the state. "I attended our Republican Party meeting last night. This county is very conservative. And the chairman had some very sobering and discouraging news. He had recently talked with our representative," and he names him, "and the representative is extremely disillusioned. There seems to be nothing they can do in Washington, D.C. to stop Barack Obama. He believes, this congressman, that civil disobedience may soon be our only defense, which could possibly lead to open rebellion. This is not a good direction to go, but one in which we may have no choice but to follow, since we believe in the Constitution. The chairman is a realist and painted a very gloomy picture. Someone asked for him to deliver some good news, and he said he had none to bring. You might consider writing a what if column, giving us an idea what you will do under different scenarios in regards to how all this might shake out. This might help us in our thinking and planning. I saw and talked with a room full of very active but very concerned people last night, and it is very troubling. I don't think I have to tell this audience what I'm about to say. Many of you have said the same things in your own way. Many of you in this audience are much more intelligent, educated, and articulate than am I in expressing the concerns that we all feel in our hearts about the day and times in which we live. But suffice it to say, we are living on the verge of a national cataclysm. I don't think there is any doubt about it. One way or another, between now and 2012, the world in which we live today will not continue to exist. In one way or another, the machinations and the ambitions of the Machiavellians in Washington, D.C., and in London, and in Rome, and in Wall Street are going to materialize. The pieces of the puzzle are just about all in place. I do not think I need to rehearse and review with you what those pieces are. I believe you are very aware of what I'm talking about. The pieces of the puzzle are in place. The characters are on the stage. The orchestra is in the orchestra pit. The lights are dimmed and the curtain is about to rise. And what has been planned for maybe up to a half a century or longer is now on the verge of becoming a reality in our time.